This conference will now be recorded.
Hey guys, good morning. Thanks for joining again today. So we'll continue with what we have been doing yesterday. So I'll spend some more time on each of those topics so that you will get more perspective of what we are going to learn, and then we can spend some more time on your questions. Okay. Uh, so let me go and start it. I think I already started the recording. Yeah. So I'll just go over each and every of this topic, right? So the Java basics and JVM basics, it's about the concepts and basics. So let me not go in there. From an engineering perspective, the response time analysis, right? I was mentioning about we will consider that there is a new build deployed or a new application is getting deployed. Okay, and then for the new application, we are the performance engineer and we are supposed to do the profiling and make sure that response time is optimized, memory is optimized for each and every functionality. Be it could be an admin login, it could be a librarian login. Once you log in, there will be other functionalities. For each and every functionalities, we have to make sure that your response time is optimized, right? If there are any opportunity to decrease the response time from 7 seconds to 6 seconds, 7 to 5, right? It is our responsibility to see what are the opportunities available. Okay, so in that perspective, we will start that first session where let me go into that slide. Yeah. So we'll take a problem statement where the response time of a login is say more than 3 seconds or 5 seconds, and try to figure out where is a problem. We'll follow a 8-step process for a profiling for the response time, right from the browser and then to your network, and then to the access logs of the Tomcat, and then to the J profiler, and then we'll do the profiling and find out the problem at the code level. So from as an end user, we will first figure out is there a response time issue from the developer tool, and if it is high, we need to make sure that before we go to the profiling, we have to make sure that it is consistent, and is it really a problem with the server. That is where we'll check the your developer tools, and then we will check the log, your Tomcat access logs, and then once we confirm that yes, it is a problem with the code, then we will go to the J profiler and then profile the code, and then find out which class or which method is taking more time. So this 8-step process, you do it practically using the app, and with the Tomcat access logs, and also with the J profiler tool. Okay, and as part of this profiling, right, we will also let me open the artifacts. So we'll also need to provide this report back to your your development team, right? So let me open the drive. Okay, so in the drive, if you go to response time analysis, we will have the document created, response time analysis PDF. So this is the delivery which we will be providing to the your developers and project teams to know what you've done, right? Otherwise, if you're going to just send an email saying that okay, you have a problem with this particular method, nobody will understand the kind of effort you put in. A lot of time the engineering team will get questions like why we are spending so much of time. Are you really adding value to the overall project, right? So it is very important to document all the deliverables as well, right? What you've done, entire analysis. So right from the browser, the access logs, and then the J profilers, right? Everything will be part of your analysis document. Okay, so when we are going to look into this particular topic of response time analysis, that is how we will do it from the where is it slide? Yeah, we will go and do all these things practically, and then we'll go and document it. That will be part of your deliverable for a response time debugging from a single user profiling perspective. Okay. And again, the tools that we'll use is the JProfiler, Chrome developer tools, Tomcat access log, plus our e-library application. We will use it practically, and the session is completely practical. There's nothing to talk about theory here. We'll probably spend some time on how to configure the Tomcat access log, um, uh, some of the configuration of JProfiler. Those things are we'll talk about from a theoretical perspective, but everything else is going to be practical here for a response time analysis. And then the second thing is for the same login, right? Second requirement for a performance engineer is to make sure that that particular functionality doesn't have a memory leak. Make sure that it has a less memory footprint. So for that, we have to do the your memory leak analysis or memory profiling. So as part of that, before going to the memory leak analysis, we will try to first understand the concepts of your memory, the way the JVM memory is designed in terms of being metaspace or a heap or a stack, PC registers. What are the various components of JVM memory? What is the difference between stack and heap? You might have seen Stack Overflow website. The word stack comes from here the JVM, one of the JVM memory component called stack. Okay, we'll understand with some good examples what is the difference between stack and heap, and then the way the memory is going to get loaded in the stack. We'll spend some more time on. I have a sample example code in my Eclipse to create some of the Stack Overflow error, and we'll see how to fix that Stack Overflow error also. Okay, the stack is something not really important from when we are going to do a load testing or when you're going to analyze the memory, because that's a very small memory area. But still, more from our understanding perspective, we'll go and create some problem with the stack using a program what I have it in my Eclipse for you to understand and not forget about the stack and Stack Overflow. Okay, I have a set of programs to create those problems. Okay, so we'll create a Stack Overflow error and then see how to fix that performance issue. And then once we learn about stack, and then we'll go to the heap. Heap is the obviously important component within JVM memory, which we will monitor, right? So for that, similarly, we will take the login or any other functionality in that application, and then we will try to understand the memory footprint, and then go over the leak analysis to see if there is a problem with the object allocation and leak or not. Okay, for that we will use a combination of Visual VM and JProfiler for heap analysis, or rather the memory leak analysis. Okay, so this is for the single user profiling, right? When you as a starting of the project, for each functionality, we'll go and do this memory leak analysis. Okay, but when you are going to do a load testing, it is not a single user, it is going to be 1,000+ users, right? In that time, what we will do, we cannot use JProfiler. In that time, there's something called heap dump. We have to take it. So during endurance test especially, right, we do the endurance test for 8 hours, 10 hours to identify memory leaks. So as part of that, we'll spend some time on what are the various common memory leaks, and then some of the JVM tuning flags that we will apply for heap, and then we'll discuss about the patterns that we will observe in endurance test. And then if they're depending upon a pattern, we have to go and take the heap dump. So that also we will discuss about when to take, how to take, what are the various options available for taking the heap dump. And then we will go and analyze the heap dump using the one of the Eclipse add-on memory analyzer tool. And there is also one of the commercial website called heaphero.io. Okay, so using these things, we will try to analyze the heap dump and find out the out of memory exceptions or the memory leaks. Okay, and so memory is going to be an exhaustive session. It's going to go over at least I would say 3, 4, even 5 days, because it needs a lot of time to get into the basics, and then get into the single user profiling, and then into the heap dumps, and then into the garbage collection as well. Right? That's a extension of memory. What is GC? What happens during the GC cycle? During GC, what are the various components like marking? Once again. Just me 1 second. Yeah, sorry guys. So we'll try to understand a lot of basic concepts about GC, what is marking, deletion, compacting. We will try to though these things are all a little bit theoretical. The GC basics are theoretical, but we will try to apply some real-time examples, real-time concepts, so that you won't even forget about all this compacting forever. Okay, and then we will try to use a JVisual VM. There's a plugin available to will also use some programs in Eclipse, Java programs, to apply a couple of flags, GC tuning flags, and see how it is going to impact your the allocation of your heap size. Okay, we'll try to understand what are the various components of GC in terms of young generation, old generation, and how the heap is getting allocated between these young and old, right? Because of these flags. Okay, and then we'll also try understand how to um, configure the GC logs, and how to analyze the GC logs. Right? That's even though we're going to learn a lot of theoretical concept, end of the day, from a GC perspective, we need to analyze the GC log to know what is the GC time, what is the CPU percentage, how many minor GCs, how many major GCs. That is a thing which we have to analyze in the GC log. So we will also see how to look into the log and get those data. And then finally, we'll also look into various collectors, right? What are the various collectors have been used in the past? What is the current used collector? What is the default collector? What is the applicability of these collectors? When to apply which kind of a collector, right? So all these things. So pretty much from a GC perspective, um, from a practical sessions, the GC log is the practical session that we will um, have it, where we'll try to understand how to analyze the GC logs. We'll apply those configuration. Also, the GC promotions, we'll apply those flags practically. But there are a lot of concepts that you need to understand so that you can easily answer the interviews. So from a GC perspective, it will be 50% theoretical, and 50% it will be practical. Okay, so that is how the we also will look into the applicability of these tuning flags as well, when to apply, how to apply these tuning flags. So almost if I go back to the agenda, or the topics, right? So Java heap and stack, memory leak analysis, heap dump analysis, garbage collection analysis. So this is going to be an exhaustive sessions on memory. Okay, then we will get into the threads. Let me open the threads. Okay. Okay, so the Java threads, we will try to understand how what is the JVM threads, how it is interlinked to the heap, how the threads are managed, and how do we go and configure the minimum thread and maximum thread in Tomcat, how to do the configuration, and what is the fundamental behind the minimal and maximum thread, and what is the optimal way of configuring it. Okay, and then we'll also try to understand the way threads are going to work more from a practical. Again, see, wherever there is a theoretical concept, I'll also try to apply it with a real-time example so that you will not forget, and it will be interesting for you to understand those concepts as well. So with thread and Swiggy, we'll try to see what is the analogy, try to understand the way the things are going to get allocated, destroyed. Okay, and then we'll try to understand what are the various thread state, runnable, running, new, waiting, monitor, blocked state. We'll try to understand all these various running state. Again, we'll go and run a few scripts, few programs, and then see it visually using the either JVisual VM or JConsole. We'll try to look into all the threads practically live, and we'll also look into all these states as well. Okay, from there we'll also try to understand what are the various common thread issues that we will encounter during the load test or a stress test. When the threads are going to be too less or too many threads, what are the problem? Thread locks or synchronization problem. So all these things we'll create practically. We'll go and create some problem in the e-library application, and then go and analyze and troubleshoot these problems again. So from a thread perspective, it is going to be completely practical, and you'll be able to understand how to configure the threads, what are the optimal values, and then what are various thread states, what are the practical issues that we'll face it, and then the thread dumps. Whenever there is a problem with the response time or CPU based on certain patterns, right? We'll understand when to take thread dumps, how to take thread dumps, and then how to analyze the thread dumps, how to find out um, the threads that are getting blocked and why it is getting blocked, and what is the root cause of this blocked state. So all these things we will again look into it very practically with the issues created using our e-library application, and then using the thread dumps and analyzing those thread dumps. So after this threads, right, we have seen response time, we have seen memory, we have seen threads. Then we will have a session on benchmarking. So as part of the benchmarking, right, JVM configuration, JVM benchmarking, you need to go and set the memory, you need to go and set the threads, you need to know how many JVMs are going to be required, right? Now you have optimized your memory, you have optimized your response time. Now you can go and do this benchmarking exercise where you can go and say, I need 4 GB heap, 200 threads. With this, response time is good or not. That's a benchmarking exercise. So we'll discuss about how to go about with the benchmarking exercise. What are things we have to consider? How to do iterative test to finalize the JVM configuration. So those things will be part of your benchmarking. After the thread dump analysis, we'll have a benchmarking JVM benchmarking session where we'll discuss about the ideal optimal configuration that we will arrive for JVM with respect to memory, threads, and number of JVMs as well. Kind of a capacity planning. Okay, so after that we will have a very comprehensive session on client-side profiling. Again, one of the hot topic in today's engineering world, where people talk a lot about client-side experience, end-user experience. So we'll spend more time on the client side as well. Let me open the client-side document. Okay, so from the client side perspective, we will try to understand the basic browser client communication, and then why to do client side analysis, how are we going to do the client side analysis. Okay, and then what are the approach we will follow as a tester, how do we go and do a client side testing, and as a performance engineer, how do we go and analyze and provide the recommendation. Right? We'll also try to understand a couple of APIs that is available within the browser, paint APIs, navigation API, to know the time to first paint, time to first byte, or time to first contentful paint. All these concepts we will go and learn, and also we will practically get these APIs data through the Chrome developer tool. Okay. And then we'll also see how to publish the client-side metrics or client-side report with these metrics: load time, time to first paint, time to contentful paint, page size for various pages. We'll practically go and use some of the websites and then take out this data to whatever we have learned earlier. We will try to see how we can get these metrics as well from the browser tool. Okay, and then we also look into the, as part of the engineering profiling, we'll try to look into a couple of important optimization like resource compression, minification of JavaScripts, how to combine style sheets and JavaScripts from same domain, CDNs, caching. So all these things from a client side perspective, we will try to again practically we will see what is the impact on the compression. We'll take a couple of sites and then look into the JavaScripts and see opportunity for minification, combining the style sheet and JavaScripts from same domain. So all these things we will practically learn and use it in any of the websites. Okay, so the client side is again going to be very interesting and very useful session, definitely, because of the expectation from the project team and in the interviews about client side profiling. It is always going to be attractive one. Okay, so after this, we are going to take a look into the after the client side profiling. Now, for conducting a load test, we have to make sure that we understand the architecture, because for the client side analysis or for heap analysis or for your single user profiling, you don't need to know the architecture, right? But just give me 1 second. Somebody is knocking the door. 1 second. Yeah. So from a load testing perspective, it's very important to know the architecture and also to uh, uh, get the monitoring strategy for your load test. Otherwise, you run a load test, you get the load runner results, but you will not be get visibility on the server side. So from a monitoring perspective, let me open the. So the reason I'm opening the slides is just to show you the subtopics of each and everything. Because slides we will not use the slides very much. It is all going to be tools and the application and the analysis completely. But a few concepts for to help me explain you, I'll be using these slides, obviously. Okay, because whatever I've told so far, almost 80% is going to be practical. Only 20% to support the concepts and theory. I'll be using the slides. And so from a monitoring perspective, yes, we will try to understand how to go about the read the components of your architecture, and then try to establish a document where you know a clear picture. Okay, I have 10 components, and for each component, is it a Java based or .NET based, or is it a Node.js based or a Python based? Is it a Linux or Windows? Is it a Tomcat or WebLogic? Is it a Oracle or MongoDB? So to know these tech stack and the architecture, you should get a very clear picture from your development team. And for each of these component, we have to make sure that, okay, is it a Java application and a Windows server? Okay, for Java application, I will have JConsole or AppDynamics. For Windows Server, I will use Perfmon or any other open source tech stack. Oracle is there. I will use AWS Report. And then, so for each and every component, you should make sure that you will have a monitoring tool available with the project team. If they don't have it, they will definitely have it, because in production, in production, you have the production support team have to monitor the each of these components for sure, right? So in the production, definitely the architects would have decided what tools to use it for sure. So which means you have to just make sure that those tools are going to be used for the in our performance environmental as well, right? So first the important thing is to understand what is going to be available in the production, okay, and then ask the team to extend that monitoring tools to your performance environment. Or if once you become very experienced at the beginning of the project itself, or beginning of the application development itself, you will be part of the discussion where to know, okay, which tool we are going to probably use it for these components. Is it going to be AppDynamics or a New Relic, or is it going to be some other tools? And then use that tool for the performance environment as well. Just give me one second. Okay, so next thing would be once you know these monitoring tools, what all tools we are going to use, then you will have a strategy like this saying, okay, these are the tools I'm going to use it for component one: Perfmon, WebLogic Server Monitor, JConsole, and then Splunk. And then for the second component, I'm going to use the VMstats, JConsole. So, and then what are the metrics you are going to monitor? So this is going to be the document that you have to make it ready for the monitoring strategy. You have to, as an engineering team, you have to prepare a monitoring study so that you will have a complete visibility before you go to the load test. Okay, so while you're doing a load test, you will use these tools to gather this metrics. So any problem, any CPU problem, any memory problem, any other component, it will be pretty much visible for you. Or in case if you are going to have AppDynamics or Dynatrace, it is going to take care of everything, right? You don't need to worry about anything at all. A single tool is going to provide the visibility on all the components, and most of the critical projects, most of the big customers are going to use these tools for this application anyway. So it's just that you need to make sure that you validate the AppDynamics or validate the Dynatrace to before you run a load test. Just log into, run a smoke test, and make sure that all the components are there. We'll look into the AppDynamics as well as part of the sessions, right? From a monitoring, once we talk about the monitoring strategy, then we will go into the we'll also look into JConsole from a JVM monitoring, and then we will look into two of these monitoring tools. One is the TickStack, Telegraph, uh, InfluxDB, Chronograph or Grafana for open source tool. We will try to see how to install these tools, how to configure these tools, and then how to monitor the Windows or Linux metrics through this combination of Telegraph, InfluxDB, and Chronograph. Chronograph or Grafana will be used to create dashboards, Telegraph to collect the metrics, and then InfluxDB to store the data. So this one open source tool will completely look into it, practically how to use it right from installation configuration to creating dashboards. And then AppDynamics, of course, it's important topic for sure. Being an APM tool for a performance engineer, it's going to be one of the important tool for monitoring and diagnostics as well. Okay, so even the experienced engineering people, they need tools. If you ask without AppDynamics or without Dynatrace, is it possible to do a diagnostics? It's going to be very, very difficult and time consuming as well. Okay, so we need these APM tools anyway. Okay. So from a AppDynamics perspective, what we will try to do is how to configure, how to install or configure the AppDynamics agents, how to connect your Java application to the AppDynamics server, and then these are 7 things that is going to be there in any APM tool. So you no need to worry. I have learned AppDynamics. Is it possible for me to learn Dynatrace or New Relic? Right? Any APM tool you will look into these things. You need to know the business transaction response time. You need to get the host or OS level um, resource level metrics, JVM level monitoring like memory, threads, garbage collection, number of major GCs, number of minor GCs, database query response time, third party calls, events, response time diagnostics. If the response time is high, it should provide us the diagnostics of what is the root cause. And then we should also be able to create some alerts, and so that whenever there's a response time deviation or a heap problem or a thread problem, it can highlight those problems to you as well. So any tool will have this, any good commercial tool will have all these things. So you just need to find out how to get these things in Dynatrace or New Relic. So nothing is going to be difficult at all. It is just that you need to go through tool and then find out all these options. So once you learn these things in AppDynamics, you know that any APM tool is going to provide you this information. You just need to look into this some videos or some manuals to find out options to get into these individual components. So we'll look into it in detail about the AppDynamics. And from there, after this monitoring session, next step thing, I guess it will be an um, database. Let me go there. From a database perspective, we will try to learn from Oracle being a very popular in any of the enterprise architecture. We will go and try to understand the Oracle database architecture. Um, what is the CPU process architecture of Oracle? What is the memory architecture of the Oracle? Just the basics, so that again going before going into the AWR report analysis, right? It is good to know how Oracle is organized. Okay, so let me open the database. Okay, so we'll try to understand, learn what is Oracle process architecture, memory architecture, and then couple of very important concepts about parsing, hard parsing, soft parsing, buffer cache, cache hit ratio, and then we will connect to a database, Oracle database, and then see how to enable the snapshots, how to take the snapshots, how to generate AWR reports, when to take the AWR report, how many snapshots you have to take it, all the best practices that we need to follow for AWR report. We will discuss about from a real-time experience, and then we'll go and generate an AWR report and try to understand from application performance engineer couple of important section in the AWR report. We will go and look into it from a load profile, and then efficiency percentage, where we look into the parsing percentage and buffer cache, right? And then we'll try to understand the DB time concepts. And then there's something called bind variable, which is going to impact your parsing efficiency and response time. We will take some examples and see how the binding variables are going to impact your response times. And when to do the deep dive DB analysis, what are the various trigger points, when to spend more time on AWR report. All these things we will look into it from a database perspective. Okay, and then it is going to be engineering strategy, introduction to DevOps, and introduction to the cloud. Those things are anyway. I'll not go get into the detail. It's more about how to create the engineering strategy, and in DevOps, I will share some of the real-time experience, and then Jenkins and Jmeter integration, and then from the cloud, we'll try to see how engineering is going to be different in cloud. What are the various tools? What are the additional scenarios, resiliency, auto scaling we need to cover from a cloud perspective. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to provide you all these details about each and every topic, so that you'll get a clear picture about what you're going to learn, so that the expectations are going to be in such a way that it can be met as well. So I want to make sure that it is very clear from what you're going to learn, because you want to spend time, effort. So I want to make sure that you exactly know what you're going to get out of the session, guys. Yeah, I'll take a pause now. If you have any questions, we can spend 5-10 minutes on that.
Hey, hi Satish. Uh, so this is Nitin. So apart from this recorded video, any other material will get like the PPT you were sharing or any other document?
Yeah, the PPT is something I use it for my orientation, just to go over the topics for my support. But there is something engineering document that is available with Isha that will be shared. There is a good documentation available for most of these topics. Okay, that will be shared by Isha through Gmail. So along with the recorded video, you will get those content as well. Once you registered, you will get those content.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you.
what about the PPT which you are presenting? Those documents will share, right? According if you join this session.
See, the PPTs again, right? This is for the for me to structure it in proper way. So the slides will not be shared. But see, honestly speaking, if you're going to have videos, right? In the video, you're going to see the PPTs anyway, and it will be there in the format of video. Anyway, the PPT will not be delivered, but it is going to be there in the video. In any of these content, if it is going to be useful for you, I can just take it and put it in document and I can give it to you as well. But I'm sure that it won't be required because it is more for me to teach rather than to for you to read it. If at all still you wanted to read it, it is going to be there in the video format. And still, if you need some of the slides which is going to help you, I can put it in a document and I can
For
give
me,
it to you.
few slides will help me. Yeah, that's the way I'm asking. So I'm working in performance testing analyst my organization. So I want to give demo perspective. If my colleagues who are working who join the fresher,
That is the
right?
problem. That's the thing, right? That's why these things cannot be shared because these are all something proprietary from a teaching perspective. But obviously, it is there. See, to answer your question, video is there. You can just screen grab it. You can just snip it, right? It's as simple as that. But yeah, it's each has proprietary slides, teaching slides. So
Yeah,
cannot
the
be shared
thing
as.
is, yeah, the thing is the few slides are very good to exposure to while giving the demo pause. That example, slide 4 is good to give the basic architecture in this performance engineering topic part. So that is very look like very nice. I don't know how to design that in if you. I'm very poor preparing the PPT part. That's why I'm I requesting for this PPT.
Yeah. So once you register, right, then you can reach out to me. Anything specific you need, I'll get permission from Isha and I can send it to you,
Yeah, fine,
case by
fine.
case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it. Got it. Then fine. Yeah. So and one more thing, I would just want to ask one more database site which we explored the parsing, the explained right database monitoring part. Is it go to practical session? We can able to see the activities in practical sessions. Should I expect the practical session for the parsing activity which comes under by database monitoring part?
Yeah. See, from a database perspective, parsing and buffer cache. When we say practical, right? I will be able to explain you practical examples of what is the parsing, what are the art parsings of parsing, and impact of the bind variables. But I might not be having the to create problem in Oracle. You need a lot of data and real load. So I cannot go and run a huge test and then show that problem in the AWS report. That is not going to be possible. But I will explain these concepts for Oracle alone. I'll be able to explain the concepts and then I'll show you in the AWS report. I'll show you how to look into all these metrics anyway. But I cannot go and create a parsing issue and then show it. Unlike in memory profiling or thread profiling, I will create an issue and show it practically. But for database alone, I will not be able to do that by creating actual problems.
So fine. But we can able to practice, right? Maybe chance to occur like this if you go for like realistic related the errors. I mean, what kind of issue will come to the parsing related thing?
Correct. Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, and but you need to install Oracle DB to go and enable those snapshots to take the snapshots and all. You need to have a Oracle DB. I'll tell you. I mean, is it really required or not? I'll tell you because
it comes under
most of the
practical
time.
session means that's fine. Thing is, if the activities comes under practical session, then fine. If not comes under theoretical means, if it comes under theoretical means, then that's why my question is for it comes under practical or theoretical. That's my question.
See, I'll again tell you, right? Clearly, Oracle database, we will go over those concepts, okay? And from a performance perspective, parsing is very, very important. I'll tell you what is soft parsing, what is hard parsing, and then you'll also, I'll show you some of the cases where parsing will have a problem and concepts about binding variable. I'll show you some kind of a stored procedures, how bad it is written, so that your parsing is going to take more time. The thing which I will not be able to show it practically is I will not be able to put a lot of load on the Oracle server and then create a AWS report. And then in that report, I will not be able to show you, okay, this is the parsing efficiency, this is the caching efficiency has come down. That is not possible because it's not going to be easy to create those problem in Oracle DB, unlike you're going to create a problem in a Java application. So that way, it is not going to be practical. But from a practical session perspective, I'll go to the Oracle DB, I'll configure the snapshots, I will take the AWS report, and then show you the AWS report. That is going to be a practical one. But the issues are not going to be practical. Practically, I will not be able to go and create the issue.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I have one question. Like currently, most of the applications are deploying in the cloud, correct? Cloud environment. So whatever tools we are learning, that same tools can be used in the cloud, or maybe it will be different set of tools will be there for analyzing in the cloud setup.
See, when the applications are going to move to cloud, right? It's just an infra, but the application is application. So from application performance engineering perspective, everything is 100% same. What will change is some of the monitoring tools, right? Instead of using an open source tool like Telegraph, we will use CloudWatch because the infra is provided by the cloud, GCP or Amazon or Azure. So they will provide a tool to monitor these resources. And APM tool, it's organization decision whether to use AppDynamics or Dynatrace. Azure has very good app insights, app monitor, another APM tool. So it's going to be just another APM tool as a choice of the project team. But otherwise, from an engineering perspective, your analysis, your approach, your the way you're going to do analysis, everything is going to be same. JProfilers, AWS reports, JVisual VM or JConsoles or EVDEM analysis, Eclipse, everything, Eclipse Mat, everything is going to be same whether cloud or data center, because your application performance engineering is not going to change, because application is application, whether you're going to install it in cloud or in your data center.
Hi Sarish, this is Surendra. So, am I audible?
Yeah, it's audible.
Yeah. So you said like under APM monitoring, you will be explaining AppDynamics and all, right? So how different is it AppDynamics from Dynatrace? Because I'm using Dynatrace right now. So like how different is?
If you, for example, which load testing tool you are using?
Sorry.
Which load testing tool you are using?
Load runner.
Load runner. So if you move to from load runner to Jmeter, is it going to be difficult for you?
Not exactly.
Not right, because concepts are going to be same. It's recording and replaying, script parameterization, correlation. You now, since you learned load runner, you know what is required for the tool to work. Just that you need to find out the syntax of parameterization, syntax of the correlation. Similarly, as I was telling, right, any APM tool you have to get 8 or 9 things from a APM tool. You should be able to diagnose the response time. You should be able to know the database call, third-party calls, your JVM metrics. So once you learn something from one tool, it's not going to see the tool is different, UI is different. They might have a few things in a different way. They would have grouped in a different way. But as a performance engineer, what you need from an APM tool is not going to change. Okay, the way they're going to show these metrics might be a little different. That you might have to spend probably a week or two to get comfortable with each of these APM tools. Because tomorrow, after 1 year, there might be a new tool coming in altogether in a project, New Relic maybe, right? So we don't need to be worrying about is it important for me to learn every APM tool? No. Once you learn one APM tool, you should be able to expand that approach to other tools as well. So obviously, from this course perspective, AppDynamics is what we are going to cover. Um, if somebody is not used any APM tool, that's going to be very, very useful. Since you're already using Dynatrace in your project, again, it is still going to be more additional knowledge that you're going to get from AppDynamics as well. So I will say, I mean, once you know one APM tool, you can easily expand that knowledge to other APM tools. It is like using different load runner or Jmeter or NeoLoad. Just that concepts are going to be same, and the way you're going to use it is going to be a little different.
Okay, thanks, Satish.
Yeah.
So this AppDynamics practical sessions will be there, like any like examples for finding
Yeah.
bottleneck. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Satish, one question. So as I understood, after this course, we will be able to know like the troubleshoot approach, and we will be able to pinpoint which area it is having the problem, like the DB or the JVM or the thread. So we can pinpoint same to dev team. But also, would we able to guide, means know, like tell them what to fix, what to fine tune?
See, there are two areas. One is finding out the root cause,
Yeah.
and then telling them what to change. Right?
Yes.
The what to change part is not the responsibility of a performance engineer until otherwise you're going to say for a particular application you've been working for 5 years, 4 years, and now you become a very experienced performance engineer, and you also know a little bit of development or programming knowledge. Then you can go and recommend those changes, but nowhere in any other project it is required. It's not a responsibility or role of a performance engineer to go and say you go and change this to that. That is not expected. It is good to have if you over the time with the experience, and if you are good in that particular software. Say Kafka, for example, you have a very good example experience in Kafka. Now you're going to go into another project where they're going to use Kafka, and you're finding problem with the Kafka. Then you can go and say, definitely go and also provide those additional recommendation or changes to the team. But it is going to be component specific. You cannot just go and give recommendation on all the components, all the 10 components. It's not going to happen immediately.
Okay, so that part is not mandatory for, not expected from performance engineering engineers, and that is person to person and based on experience, right?
Absolutely. So you asked about pinpointing problems, right?
Yeah.
This sessions are going to enable you to think in that perspective. Not absolutely. After this, you get into a project, you will be able to go and pinpoint problems. No, that's not going to be possible. But you'll get a confidence on how to approach it, and slowly over the experience, even I will not be able to pinpoint problems even now for all the components. No way. You have to get comfortable with architecture. Over the time, yes, you will become you'll be able to comfortably go and provide those observation analysis very easily, but not in the project 1 or project 2. But for the project 1 and project 2, if you would be able to go and apply these and see how you will be able to observe things, and over the time only you will be able to get into that comfort zone, but not right away for sure. Nobody will be able to do it.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
It's not like load runner or Jmeter, right? Where you once you know the scripting, even there you will have challenges for different applications. But that is very straightforward because you do this, you will get that. But analysis is not like that. Whatever you do analysis, you might not even get the answer at all. A lot of times, you have to spend a lot of time understand the components. Uh, it will take definitely will take months for you to get comfortable with any applications.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. So yeah, if you still have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me. We will start our session 1 from tomorrow. So for registration, you can reach out to Kumar sir, and then any other questions, clarification you have, you can just ping me in the WhatsApp. We can probably on today. Okay. Thank you very much. And those who have already registered, just send your email ID. I'll add you to the Google Drive and Google Sheet so that you can start installing few of these softwares. Okay. So we'll again, from a timing perspective, it is 8 to 9 for now, but definitely we will move it, prepone it by 15 minutes at least, 7:45 to 8:45 a.m. IST. I'll just post you in the WhatsApp group from tomorrow whether it is going to be 8 or 7:45 a.m. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you very much, and we will meet again tomorrow. And tomorrow is going to be first session, so yeah, please try to register with Kumar sir if you wanted to proceed. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.